we're going to start learning this wonderful study by Gariboldi. Now, the study is in A major, and I'm going to get to the main technical challenge of the study in a moment, but here's a really important thing to understand. Even though it is in A major, this is a challenging key, some new notes for you. It's actually completely, exclusively, basically just a big A major arpeggio. The whole thing, if you look through, the whole thing consists of the following three notes: A, C sharp, and E. No other notes in the study. That's it. Those three notes. So the good thing is if you've been practicing your A major arpeggio, this should actually feel a lot easier to do, a lot easier. The other really interesting thing is that if you've been practicing specifically that exercise number 2, which is that wonderful cascading arpeggio exercise, play through very fast. This study is also going to feel even easier because that whole point of that exercise is to actually take that arpeggio and put it into different kind of patterns and forms so that when you see it in music like you do here, it actually feels a whole lot easier as well. So that's the important thing. Now, the main technical challenge of this study is actually not A major. The main challenge is actually the articulation. So it's all about this two articulation. And this week our job is to learn the notes, so we're going to spend most of our time just learning the notes really slowly. In the next video for next week, we're going to spend time working a little bit on the articulation and speeding it up. And then we'll deal with that a little more specifically. We might do a little bit of it today. Let's see what we uncover. Okay, now I would divide this up into 4 bits that I think make a lot of sense, like that with the rest. We'll then go to the next rest over there, and then from there to the end. And again, you can decide to do all of this in one day. You could decide to maybe do 2 bits per day, or you could decide to do 2 measures a day, where you do day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. Remembering that the slower and calmer you learn this, so the more time you take in the beginning stages, the better in the long run. So don't try to do this too fast. So this would be over 4 days, and then you'd spend a couple of days revising, and then you'll watch the next video where we'll be polishing it up, speeding it up, and spending some time kind of crafting the articulation. All right, so let's really slowly work on those first 2 measures. Now we're going to do this without the slurs to start with. Take those slurs out, just so that we can get the notes without the complication of the slurs. Let's try that. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and just like that. Pretty simple, right? Let's try it again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and okay. Now, if you're struggling to get the nice sound on those notes, maybe you feel like your articulation's a bit fluffy, we're going to just do our first little articulation practice exercise already, which is do it all on those lovely who's. We're going to make use of a lot of this in the next 2 weeks, so we may as well just do some now. Let's do it. So we're going to do who, who, who. And remember, your who's are from your belly, and they're with just little pulses of air. So we have now, sometimes my notes weren't speaking as clearly as I would have liked. Doesn't matter. We're just going to allow our lips to find the position without squeezing and tightening, and just feel those lovely pulses of air. Okay, let's add the tongue back. 3 and 4 and just like that. Okay, you ready to add the slurs back? Let's try it. We're going to do this slowly and calmly, just seeing if we can add those slurs. Be careful not to change the timing. Be careful not to suddenly do where we want to make the slurs suddenly really fast. Very common mistake I see students make. Don't make the slurs fast. They should be just as even as they were a moment ago. Da, da, da. Banging my flute here. 3 and 4 and going to try that again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, you might want to do it even slower than this. We're going to possibly slow things down a little bit in a moment just because it gets a little bit more tricky. I consider those first two measures the easier measures. We're going to go on now to this next little bit. Now, you might want to press pause at this stage, pause the video, come back to it tomorrow, or you carry right on if you've still got a little bit of brain capacity left to go on to these next two measures. So we're going to play from that E to there. We're again going to take out the slurs. We're maybe going to slow it down just a teeny bit, just so that you can really feel calm here. So da, 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 da. Oh, sorry, da, da, no tongue. 3, 4, 3 and 4 and. And again, 3 and 4 and. And if you're like me and cracking notes at the moment, don't worry about it, we'll get there. Let's try and add the slurs back. So now, I can tell you now, without even having played it, I can tell you this is going to be a challenge. C sharp to E is a challenge. We'll deal with it. If it's cracking and all over the place for now, leave it alone. We're learning the notes right now. Let's go for it. 3 and 4 and. And again, 3 and 4 and. Okay, well, one thing you can do just already, on that E, just think about a little bit more space between the back of the teeth, opening up, dropping the jaw, and actually angling that air a little bit down into the flute. That can be quite helpful. Let's try now to see if we can put this whole first section together from the beginning all the way through to there. Remember we said one big A major arpeggio. Let's try it. Slowly, slowly, slowly still. 3 and 4 and. So I'm really thinking da, wah, da, 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 drop and da, da, da. And also don't close up and squeeze, just good air. This is a great place to do it on a who. In fact, let's try that together. So we'll go from there through to there, and we're just going to do it all on who's. Who, 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 who. Let's try 3 and 4 and. Just like that. Wonderful. Let's try it with the articulation again and without the who, so with the twos again. 3 and 4 and. Like that. Okay, super. Let's continue to the next little passage. So again, you're going to maybe want to press pause on this video and just come back to this tomorrow. Completely up to you, but either way, whether you're joining me again or you're continuing, let's go on to the next section. We're going to play from that A all the way through to that A over there. Now, with A to E, similar problem as the C sharp to E. I think most things to E are challenging. The problem here, the biggest problem here is actually the A and the E are on the same harmonic series. I can play the E with just the A fingering by kind of creating that first harmonic and overblowing the sound. You can try this, just angle the A up and increase the speed of the air a little bit. So bring it in so you can see this a bit better. So as I get to that harmonic. You'll see how I bring those lips forward. So nice thing to play those harmonics and then add the correct fingering. Really quite tricky. Make sure you take a really good open breath. Don't squeeze and tighten the embouchure. Just think da, yeah, good air up to that E and carry on blowing down on that E. 3, a 1 and 2 and. And this, my dear friends, is exactly 100% that cascading scale exercise. Exercise number 2. So if you've been practicing it, you should be like, hey, this is pretty easy, hopefully. Let's try that again. Let's do it all on who, actually. It's a good exercise. Who, like that. 3 and 4 and. And again, 3 and 4 and. All right, let's do it with the correct articulations again. In fact, let's do it with no slurs. Take out those slurs. I didn't even mention that step earlier. Let's take out those slurs because that actually is half the problem as well. Let's try it without the slurs. 3 and 4 and. And you might seriously just want to practice it like that for a couple of days without the slurs and then add the slurs back. Let's try it now. Let's do it one more time without the slurs. One more time. Let's try it. 3 and 4 and. Fantastic. And now let's add those slurs back in. Let's see what happens. 3 and 4 and. There it is. How was that? Probably needs some more work. I'm guessing that this bit here is probably going to be, along with that little bit, the most challenging bits in this whole study. It is going to be a bit nasty to practice, but you'll get there. Press pause, or let's continue. We're going on to day 4's work, and we're going to play this last little bit, which is, well, yet again, just A major arpeggios. Let's do it once without the slurs, just to get the notes, and there's a nasty little moment in there that'll just wait. It's just waiting to catch you out, basically, which is a change in articulation, but we'll get there in a moment. Let's do it without the slurs. 3 or 1 and 2 and. I guess we can play those last 3 notes. Something that generally happens, and it was almost catching me out here, is that we get to the end here and we want to rush through these because we're so used to dum, bum, bum, bum. We go da, da, da instead of da, rest, da, rest, da. So let's do it one more time with, all the way to the end. And let's see if we can get those rest relationships correct. 3, 1 and 2 and. Okay, now let's go to adding back these little slurs. 1 and 2 and. Rest. Rest. So you want to just make sure that you really obey the articulations here. Don't let your tongue get away with it. Do not. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. And you might want to practice that a few times without your flutes, just saying it on 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, just to get those articulations and wrap your head around it. Okay, so that is actually the study. You're going to carry on practicing in little bits. We're not going to try and string together any more little bits today. That's it. We're going to continue next week putting it all together, speeding it up, working a bit on the articulation. But for now, have fun learning the notes. Do this slowly, do this calmly, do this patiently, and I'll see you in the next video.